Trauma and traumatization.
They are Louise and Anne. Louise dreams of becoming an athlete and Anne a veterinarian. They're both the same age and live in the same city when an event happens to them that changes the way they live their day-to-day lives. Louise was training with her friend in the park, and while her mother was distracted, a dog bites her on the leg. Anne was alone in her room with her cat when her uncle enters her room and rapes her. He warns her that if she tells her mom, she will never see her cat again. But both gave an unconscious meaning to the event. The meaning can be innate or learned, and depends on the level of attachment or threat of loss. Physical loss relates to losing an organ or losing one's life. Personal loss relates to losing one's home or losing important relationships. Public loss relates to losing cultural identity or losing prestige. Louise reacted to the possible loss of her future as an athlete, while Anne feared losing the love and support of her mother and her cat if she spoke up. Brain landscape is critical. It depends on temperament, sensitivity to the cause of stress, and previous and current experiences. Each had a different brain landscape. Louise was raised with love and support from her family, regulating her emotions and problems, a resilient landscape. Anne grew up in loneliness, seeing substance abuse and violence at home, a vulnerable landscape. During the event, both had the perception that it was impossible to escape. Louise felt pain and anger for not wearing long pants that day. She thought she could have avoided it. Anne felt sore, dirty, overwhelmed, and abandoned.
Trauma and traumatization. Trauma is a function that recognizes the perceptions of the brain and organism to survive in fight, flight, or freeze.
It helps analyze the situation quickly and act on potential dangers to life or physical integrity. Traumatization is the permanent encoding of all components of emotion, reason, and sensations experienced during the event. Brain chemistry is altered, generating the same response to survive. On the day of the event, Louise received all the physical and emotional support from her mother. The only thing Anne could do was to look for her absent mother's coat to feel her protection. In their case, an event happened to them, but a person can be traumatized by witnessing or hearing about the event. The day after, Louise felt trapped and insecure. She didn't go out to train and stopped seeing her friend. Anne had panic and anxiety attacks at 5 p.m. She had nightmares at night and anger attacks at home and school. How did they deal with it? With her mom's support, Louise practiced yoga and went back to training. She now goes out protected. She learned to master her fear of black dogs. Breathing deeply and calmly helped her. Anne's mother never got to know about the rapes, and on the contrary, was grateful for the financial support the uncle offered at home. Anne was repulsed and angry at men. She began to drink to disconnect from her suffering. What were their lives like? As a young woman, Louise continued to train, won medals, and had fun with friends. Anne lost her ability to concentrate and socialize. As an adult, Louise trained as a coach and also adopted a puppy. Anne dropped out of school, failed to become a veterinarian. She became hyper-vigilant and aggressive, and sometimes suffered from suicidal ideation. Let's recap. Both experienced a traumatic event. Each gave it an unconscious meaning. One had a resilient brain landscape and one had a vulnerable one. And both had the perception that it was impossible to escape. However, Louise experienced simple traumatization and healed. But Anne experienced complex traumatization and failed to heal. The challenge is not accepting the event. It is about learning to master sensations it generates by strengthening resilience. Among others, there are 3 ways to strengthen resilience: practicing psychosensory techniques, creating healthy habits, strengthening the person and spirit. Practicing psychosensory techniques helps them to be calm and focused before sensations that remind them of the past, and helps provide self-protection and problem-solving. Creating healthy habits helps strengthen brain health, sleeping, eating, and physical activity, but also through delta waves present in nature, art, and fun activities. Strengthening the person and spirit through activities and support networks gives a sense of belonging, purpose, and meaning in life. Complex traumatization made Anne vulnerable to sexual exploitation. Learn how to prevent her story from happening again in the Illustrated Pimp's Handbook. What Prostitution Hides.
Share this video.